I stared at my reflection in the elevator doors of Martinez Global Enterprises, adjusting my suit one last time. 3 years ago I'd been escorted out of this same building, my father's words still ringing in my ears. "You're not fit for business, Carolina. Stick to your art classes." Now I was back not as Carolina Martinez, the family disappointment, but as CM Stone, CEO of Stone Supply Chain Solutions. And I was about to show my family exactly how unfit for business I really was. "Miss Stone," my assistant Sarah whispered, "they're all assembled in the conference room. Your father, brother, and the entire board. They had no choice but to meet with me. In the past 6 months, I'd systematically acquired controlling interests in every major supplier Martinez Global depended on. They just didn't know it was me behind the acquisitions." "How's Miguel looking?" I asked, referring to my older brother who'd taken my place as heir to the family business. "Nervous. The supply chain disruptions are hitting them hard." Of course they were. I'd engineered every disruption, every delayed shipment, every price increase. Not illegally, just strategically. Amazing what you can do when people underestimate you. The elevator doors opened on the executive floor. 3 years ago I'd been told I'd never set foot here again. Now I own the companies they couldn't function without. "Your father tried to research Stone's supply chain," Sarah continued as we walked. "But all he found was a shell company registered in Delaware." I smiled, remembering the complex corporate structure I'd created using my mother's maiden name, Stone. Did anyone recognize me in the waiting room? No. The new hair color and style worked perfectly. Gone was the long dark hair they remembered. My new platinum blonde cut was all business, all power. Everything about me had changed, except my determination to prove them wrong. "Miss Stone," the receptionist announced through the conference room door, "here to see the board." I took a deep breath, thinking of that day 3 years ago. The family meeting where they'd stripped me of my shares. The humiliation of being told I wasn't Martinez material. My father's dismissive wave as security led me out. "Ready?" Sarah asked, tablet in hand. I nodded, squaring my shoulders. Time to show them exactly what Martinez material looks like. The doors opened to reveal the Martinez Global Board and my family, all seated around the massive conference table. My father sat at the head, looking older than I remembered. Miguel fidgeted with his tie, the strain of recent months visible on his face. None of them recognized me. "Good morning," I said coolly, taking my place at the opposite end of the table. "Shall we discuss your supply chain crisis?" "Miss Stone," my father began, his voice carrying that same authoritative tone I remembered, "we appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. Though I must say your company's recent actions have been aggressive. If only he knew how aggressive I could be." I opened my laptop, displaying a chart of Martinez Global's plummeting stock price. "Your company has lost 40% of its market value in 6 months, I stated, watching their faces. "Your suppliers are demanding higher rates, your shipments are delayed, and your competitors are circling like vultures." Miguel leaned forward, sweat beading on his forehead. "We understand there's been a change in ownership of our supply chain partners, but surely we can reach a reasonable arrangement." "Reasonable?" I raised an eyebrow. "Like the reasonable way you handle family business?" The comment made my father's head snap up, but he still didn't recognize me. The platinum hair, colored contacts, and 3 years of absence were the perfect disguise. "I'm not sure what you mean," he said carefully. "Just that Martinez Global has a reputation for its handling of internal matters." I clicked to the next slide, showing their declining quarterly reports. "Perhaps if you'd maintained better leadership, you wouldn't be in this position." Sarah placed folders in front of each board member. "Our terms for continuing supply chain services." The room filled with the sound of papers rustling and shocked gasps as they read the conditions. "Double the current rates. Strict payment terms. Complete transparency of operations." "This is extortion." Miguel exploded, jumping to his feet. "You can't possibly expect us to agree to these terms." I kept my voice level, enjoying his desperation. "You have alternatives, of course. You could try finding new suppliers. Though I should mention that Stone Supply Chain has exclusive contracts with 90% of the viable options in your industry." "How?" one of the board members whispered. "How did we not see this coming?" "Perhaps," I replied, unable to resist. You were too busy ensuring only the right kind of people ran your companies to notice who was running theirs. My father's eyes narrowed at the comment. Something about my voice, my mannerisms. I could see him struggling to place the familiarity. We'll need time to review these terms, he said finally. You have 24 hours, I announced, standing. After that, the terms increase by 10% daily. That's impossible, Miguel protested. The board needs at least a week to dash. 24 hours, I repeated firmly. I'd say that's quite generous considering how long you've ignored the warning signs. As my team packed up, I caught my father staring at me intently. 3 years ago he'd looked at me with disappointment. Now there was something else in his eyes, uncertainty, maybe even fear. One more thing, I added, pausing at the door. I'll need my office back. The corner one on the 40th floor. That's my office, Miguel stammered. Not anymore. I smiled, watching the color drain from my father's face as recognition finally dawned. Consider it part of the new arrangement. Poppy. The room erupted in shocked whispers as I walked out, head high, heels clicking on the marble floor. Behind me I heard my father's chair scrape back. Carolina, his voice cracked. Carolina, wait. But I was already in the elevator, watching the doors close on their stunned faces. 3 years ago they'd shown me out. Now I was showing them exactly who was unfit for business. Sarah checked her tablet. Your mother's texting. She wants to know if it's true. Tell her to watch the business news tonight, I replied. The story of how the prodigal daughter took control of Martinez Global's supply chain should be breaking any minute. The elevator descended, but my star was definitely rising. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's making them beg for what they once threw away. The next 24 hours transformed into a corporate circus. Business news channels ran constant coverage of the Martinez supply chain coup, with headlines splashing across every financial network. Martinez heiress returns. The $2 billion revenge play. Family feud turns corporate takeover as ousted daughter gains control. Stone supply chain revealed. How Carolina Martinez built an empire in secret. I watched the chaos unfold from my temporary office at Stone Supply Chain's headquarters, fielding calls from reporters and investors alike. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from long-lost relatives suddenly eager to reconnect. Your mother's here, Sarah announced, appearing at my door. She's crying. I looked up from the latest market reports. Send her in. Mama burst through the door, her designer handbag swinging wildly. Carolina, mi hija. Why didn't you tell me? All this time building this company. Would you have kept it from Dad? I asked quietly. She stopped short, guilt crossing her face. 3 years ago she'd sat silently while they stripped me of my inheritance. Her only protest had been a quiet sob as security led me out. I'm sorry, she whispered. I should have defended you. Yes, you should have. I turned my laptop to show her the latest stock tickers. But then I might never have built this. The numbers told the story. Stone Supply Chain's revealed value had topped $3 billion. Martinez Global stock had dropped another 15% since yesterday's meeting. Your father hasn't slept, she said, sinking into a chair. He's been in emergency meetings all night. Miguel is talking about resigning. Good. I pulled up the contracts again. He never had the head for business anyway. Remember when he lost $50 million on that failed expansion? The one I warned him about. He was trying his best. No, Mama. He was playing CEO while I was learning how to actually be one. I handed her a folder. Here's what's going to happen next. She opened it, gasping at the details. You want control of Martinez Global? I already have control. These contracts just make it official. I stood, walking to the window overlooking the city. Every major supplier they depend on belongs to me. Their distribution networks. Their raw materials. Also mine. They can either accept my terms or watch their empire crumble. But their family. Family. I turned back, letting her see the hurt I'd carried for 3 years. Was it family when Dad said I was too soft for business? When Miguel laughed at my strategic proposals? When you all watched them erase me from the company history? My phone buzzed, a message from the Martinez Global Board Secretary. They were ready to meet again. You have 2 choices, Mama, I said, gathering my files. You can run back to tell them everything I just said, or you can finally choose your daughter's side. Either way, in 1 hour I'm taking back what they stole from me." She stood, clutching her handbag like a shield. "What happened to my sweet Carolina? The one who painted and loved art?" "She grew up," I replied coldly. "She learned that in business being sweet gets you nowhere. Being smart," I gestured to the empire I'd built, "gets you everything." Sarah appeared at the door. "Miss Stone, your car's ready for the Martinez meeting." "Thank you, Sarah." I turned to my mother. "Coming, Mama? You won't want to miss this part." She nodded slowly, finally seeing me not as her artistic daughter, but as the businesswoman I'd become. Will you destroy them?" I smiled, thinking of the plans I'd spent 3 years perfecting. "No, Mama. I'm going to do something much worse. I'm going to make them work for me." The Martinez Global boardroom looked different now, less intimidating, more like a chessboard where I controlled all the pieces. My father sat slumped at the head of the table, his usual commanding presence diminished by sleepless nights and plummeting stock prices. Miguel wasn't there. According to the whispers, he'd submitted his resignation an hour ago. "Before we begin," I announced, taking my seat, "I'd like to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm Carolina Martinez. Yes, I'm the CEO of Stone Supply Chain. And yes, this is exactly what you think it is, a takeover." "You've made your point, Carolina," my father said wearily. "Name your price." I laughed, the sound echoing off the mahogany walls. "My price? Papa, you still don't understand. This isn't about money. It's about power. Control. The things you said I'd never grasp." Sarah distributed new folders to the board members. "Our final terms," I explained. "Non-negotiable." The room filled with shocked murmurs as they read the documents. My demands were clear. I would become CEO of Martinez Global with controlling interest transferred to Stone Supply Chain. My father would step down to an advisory role. The board would be restructured under my leadership. "This is impossible," one of the old guard board members protested. "The Martinez family has controlled this company for 3 generations. And look where that got us," I replied, pulling up the company's financial data. "Stagnant growth. Failed expansions. Missed opportunities in emerging markets. All because you were too focused on maintaining the old boys club to see the future." My father's face had turned ashen. "The shareholders will never accept this." "Actually," I clicked to the next slide, "they already have. While you were all scrambling to respond to my supply chain pressure, I was buying shares. Lots of shares. At bargain prices, thanks to your plummeting stock value." The numbers told the story. Through various shell companies and strategic purchases, I now controlled 45% of Martinez Global's voting shares. Combined with the proxy votes I've secured from other disappointed shareholders, I continued, I have the majority needed to force these changes through. "When," my father whispered, "how did we not see this coming?" 3 years, Poppy. 3 years of working twice as hard as Miguel ever did. Learning every aspect of the business you said I couldn't understand. Building relationships with the suppliers you took for granted. Creating something bigger than your narrow vision could imagine. Mama, who had been silent until now, spoke up from her seat in the corner. "What about Miguel's children? Their inheritance will be safer in my hands than their father's," I assured her. "Unlike Miguel, I actually know how to grow a company, not just coast on its reputation." My phone buzzed. The financial press was waiting downstairs for the official announcement. The business world was eager to hear how the prodigal daughter had orchestrated the biggest corporate coup of the year. "You have 10 minutes to sign," I informed the board. "After that, I go public with everything, the mismanagement, the nepotism, the missed opportunities. Your choice." One by one they signed. Some with anger, some with resignation, all with the knowledge that they'd severely underestimated the artistic Martinez daughter. My father was last. His hand trembled as he held the pen. "I taught you too well," he muttered. "No, Poppy," I corrected him. "You didn't teach me at all. That was your mistake." As the signed documents were collected, I stood to address my new board. Effective immediately, I am CEO of Martinez Global Enterprises. Our first order of business will be a complete restructuring. Those who can adapt will stay. Those who can't, I glanced at my father, will be given generous retirement packages. "And what about the Martinez family legacy?" someone asked. I smiled, straightening my jacket. The legacy is safe. In fact, it's stronger than ever. Because now it's being led by someone who had to earn her place, not inherit it. Turning to leave, I paused at my father's chair. By the way, I'm keeping both companies, Stone Supply Chain and Martinez Global. Consider it compensation for 3 years of valuable business lessons. What lessons? He asked hoarsely. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Never dismiss someone as unfit without seeing their true potential. And never, ever tell your daughter she doesn't belong in the boardroom. She might just take it from you. As I walked out, head high, I could feel the weight of their stares, my father's defeat, my mother's amazement, the board's shock. But I didn't look back. I had 2 companies to run and an empire to build. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just taking back what was stolen from you. It's showing them exactly why they should have never let you go in the first place. The art student they'd dismissed had become the business queen they now answered to. And this was just the beginning. Sarah, I called as we headed to the press conference. Get Miguel on the phone. Tell him his corner office needs to be cleared out by morning. His big sister's coming home.